little bit of brief about myself is I've been on my spiritual journey since I was 12, actually just before I turned 13. That was when I had my first spiritual experience. From there, I completely resisted it because I didn't know how to deal with it and what to do with it. So over the years, I worked in corporate America and came and went through left brain, right brain, trying to integrate it all, and became an entrepreneur. So I've been an entrepreneur for going on 14 years now. And in that process, my journey has been about integrating and embodying spirit in everyday life and in the physical world. And as part of that process, there's something that I've noticed. It was not just about myself, but about everybody, especially those of us who are highly tuned and really want to embrace the soul of who we are in the world, is that we get caught up so much in the shoulds and the how we're supposed to be in the world. So there's no slide presentation today, and that's intentional. Because we're talking about the soul. This is not about being in your head, for the most part. Although we have a little bit of head stuff going on. And you do have some sheets on the tables in front of you. And those sheets, I'm going to walk you through those first. And then we're going to do a little bit of grounding. We're going to do a little exercise first. But there are 5 steps for your soul to really be grounded and be present in life. And that's to be present in time. So on your sheet, the first one is the first step to really bringing your soul into the physical world is to reveal. Okay? To reveal you, your authentic you. This is the you that is deeply, deeply connected to your soul. The second step is to examine. Examine your natural rhythms. What works for you? What works for you in this life? How to move. Not what you think you're supposed to do, but what really, really works for you. This is one of the biggest areas, is we try to fit ourselves into a box. Have you ever felt like you're an oval peg trying to go into a square box in the world? It doesn't work. And we get frustrated and overwhelmed. So the third step is to skyrocket your success. And to skyrocket your success means to step into your higher vision of success. Not the higher vision that you think. Not the, I'm going to have a $20 million business, or I'm going to have a $5 million business, or I'm going to have a $250,000 business. That's not your higher vision of success. Your soul has a lot bigger plans for you than you know. And when you can come at it and really look at your higher vision for success from your soul, you will have a path that you will know you will follow. Anybody here have bright, shiny object syndrome? Squirrel, yes. Squirrel. Okay. So with that, when you have your higher vision for success, and you know what path your soul is on, and you are on, because you and your soul, of course, are one, you don't get so much bright, shiny object syndrome. It doesn't happen. You can stay grounded in doing that purpose that you have. All right? The next step is to evaluate. So you know what your higher vision of success is. You know what your natural rhythms are. And you really tapped into your soul, which we'll go into a little bit more. So how do you fit in the world? Okay? So you still have square holes. And here you are, you're really clear. Well, when you take the next step and evaluate, it's setting up your time so that it works for you. Because guess what? Everybody here, You can, whether you believe it or not, set up your time in the physical world to work for you. You do not have to fit yourself into anybody else's time schedule. Clients, customers, parents, family, you don't have to do that. You can, but you don't have to. And that's a really important piece. And then the last piece is to take action. Notice taking action is at the back. Take action. So what I'm going to do today as we go through is I'm going to really go deep into the place today with you on your soul, on reveal. We're going to talk about reveal today. But I want you to have all 5 steps, and I'll talk about those just a little bit more. But the soul piece is where we start. Your reveal, your examine, and your skyrocket. Those are your foundation. Those are your foundation for really setting up your time and how you show up in the world. Because time is our pathway in the world. If your time's all over the place, what path are you on? How can you really focus and do what you're here to do? Because regardless of your business, every human being has a purpose in the world. And we're going to go there. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take off my shoes, and ladies, I'd like you to take off your shoes. And I'm going to, that are not flat. If you got heels, take them off. And I really want everybody to stand up, please. And we're going to move from our heads down into our hearts and into our bodies. All right? So standing up. All right. So close your eyes.
Some of the men want to take their shoes off.
Well, take your shoes off. Men, take your shoes off. It's really about grounding.
What about socks?
If you want. You can take off your socks if you want. I like barefoot myself. So just close your eyes. And I just really want you to just let go. Bring your arms up over your head like a V. And just release and allow yourself to receive. Breathe deep. And allow yourself to come out of your head. And as you bring your arms down, just come into your body. And just move. Just feel yourself in your body. This isn't about being in your head today. Just really, really come in. And be present. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Present. And open your eyes. Okay, so everybody will sit down in this space. Thank you for showing up for you today. I can feel you all. There's a lot of energy in this room. Your souls are here. Okay. So now from this space, this last weekend, I got to spend some time with some really beautiful souls, taking them on their full soul journey. So what we're going to do in this place, what I'm going to share with you on your soul and your soul's purpose, is to really, really just take the top level. Can't go as deep as I would like to on this. So, a number of you, especially those of you who are healers and wellness coaches, we get conditioned. We get conditioned to think that our purpose is what we do. You are more than what you do. And those of you who are not in a health and wellness field or a coaching field, you're not what you do either. And you definitely have a soul purpose, and it's not what you do. Your soul purpose is not what you do. It's about who you are at the deepest level. And when we think our soul purpose is more about what we're supposed to do for others, we leave ourselves out of the mix. You can't give without receiving for yourself. You can't give without giving to yourself. It's really important that you stay connected with your soul and know that your soul has a vision of being here. Your soul is here for a reason for you to learn. There are things here that you need to learn that you might not think you're learning. And you're here to not necessarily heal others. Yes, it shows up because that's what you're here to do. It might not be to help others with their finances, but your soul is revealed. Your soul's purpose is revealed through your work. It's revealed through your natural genius and your natural talents. And most importantly, there are two places where your soul purpose is revealed. And that is, the two of them, the most important are the challenges you have in life. If you look back over your life, we have people that have only been on the planet here for 20-some years, 25, 23, 22 years. Well, there's still patterns and challenges that you faced your entire life. It doesn't matter. My challenges, I recognize them starting when I was 12. It was my first spiritual experience. There's challenges that you come up against. The second is your resistance. What are you resistant to? What do you not want to do? Right? Taking the example of my spiritual experience when I was 12, I came out of church with my mom. We went to a midnight Christmas service. I turned 13 a week later. And my physical body was on the ground, but let me tell you, I wasn't. And it was just amazing. But my whole life, I didn't listen to spirit for a whole heck of a lot. I'd have my moments when I wrote my poetry. But most of the time I was about pushing and making things happen. And thinking I know best, I get an insight and run down the road. Well, it doesn't make life very easy. It gives you struggles everywhere. Where do you struggle in your life? When your soul's not showing up for what you're here to do, for you, first, you're going to have struggles in life. Whether they are in your finances, in relationships. When you're not showing up true to you, they are going to really get you. And the more you ignore them, the more you avoid them, the worse they get. Anybody here had cosmic 2x4s come across their head? Yeah. Cosmic 2x4s. Those are the epitome of going against what you're here to do. It's like, wake up. Wake up to your soul. When you do that, when you wake up to your soul, it's from that place that you can guide your life. You need to be able to guide your life from a place that's authentic in who you are. Your soul purpose, again, is not what you do, and it's not for other people to start with. When you get your soul purpose, and you're really clear on what that is that you're here for and where you're here to grow and expand, then you can take that same gift and show that to other people. And one of my clients, her sole purpose is to shine in her brilliance and allow others to do the same, and to show others how to do the same. It doesn't have anything to do with her business, but it's in her business that she does that. Mine is to integrate and embody spirit in the physical world in everyday life. I do that through time. But the key about time is you have to have the foundation of who you are. If you don't really understand your soul purpose and who you are, how it's impacted by your genius, every single person in this room is extremely unique. It's in your uniqueness that you need to show up through your soul purpose. When you are unique, there's nobody else that can do what you do. Nobody else that is who you are. Nobody else can share you like you share you, because it's through you and your essence that you give value to others. And it's through that same essence that you are of value to you. You cannot contribute to others if you do not value yourself. And being in that value to yourself is really about understanding your genius. You have gifts. And if you're hiding, how dare you? Your gifts that you've been blessed with are here to contribute to the greater humanity. It's not about trying to fix the world. It's not trying to change the world. It's about showing up in your gifts and being who you are and allowing those gifts to shine and be there for other people. How dare you hide them? How dare you keep them? We talk about selfish. It's not sharing us with others that's selfish. All right? And when you really, really get in and understand your value, then your life can move with ease. And you can be in choice. Because if your life is valuable, what's your calendar going to look like? If you really get your value for you and what you bring to the world, it's going to be a little more in alignment with you and what you need. Trying to put yourself in time slots that don't work for you. So we're going to go from this place of value and connected to your soul. We're going to look at your natural rhythms. It's through your natural rhythms that your soul wants to move on the planet. You have rhythms for a reason. It allows you to shine and to be in your grace and your genius at that moment in time that's best for you. Has anybody ever tried to work with a client when you just felt really just not there? And you couldn't, but you made yourself be there? Do you feel the energy drain later? Because if you're working with somebody and it's not a good time for you to work with a person at that point in time, and it's generally not a good time of the day for you, the worst thing you can do is work with them when you're not present. You know, sometimes it's really easy to just force ourselves because we should, or make commitments at times that we know aren't supposed to be. But if they're against your natural rhythms, holy, whoa, it causes roadblocks in your way. Every time you work with somebody when it's not a good time for you and your soul to shine, you're not going to be at your best for others. And it's from that place that you can really show up in the world. That's your natural rhythms are your first clue to really taking your walk through time. Time is, we see it as linear, but it's not. Because when you're in your natural rhythms, if you're a creator, If you like to do specific things, write, read, meditate, time, when you do everything that you do at the right time for you, you can get 10 times more done in 1 hour of the right time than you can in the wrong time. Anybody had that experience? Okay. And that's based on your natural rhythms. It's not about forcing or thinking yourself there's something wrong. It's why can't I focus? Why can't I do this now? Part of it is one, you're not connected to your soul in that moment. Two, if you're struggling with that, it's because you're doing the wrong thing. You're trying to do what you want to do at the wrong time. You really need to do the right things for you at the right times for you. And it accelerates your success, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's financial, productivity, however it shows up, relationships. When you're meeting with people or you're getting together with a significant other, a potential significant other, it's at the right time for you. You're going to shine. You're going to connect. That's what we're here to do, is to connect with each other as our souls in the right time and in the right moment. And when you're really clear about you and your natural rhythms, it's easy to step in and see what your vision of success is. Then you can say, okay, then you can start making it concrete. But you got to come from you first. The natural tendency and why time is at the back. And as you notice, time is the smallest portion of this talk. It's because that's the mechanics. Everybody thinks that they can fix their time by working on their calendar. It's all about having the foundation of you, being clear where you're going and what your soul is here to do. And when you put yourself in your calendar at times that work for you, the world happens, right? We have constraints. How many people in here are moms or have aging parents? And you're a dad. And dads. Sorry, guys. The thing is when you're a parent, you have constraints of your kids. If you think they're constraints. They're not necessarily constraints. If it's a choice. I have a 13-year-old. And when she goes to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's not necessarily my best time to be getting up and driving and get my workout done before she goes to school. However, my values are relationship and connection. And in my values, I make a conscious choice in my time. Because let me tell you, when you take a 13-year-old to school, and you pick a 13-year-old up from school, those are the only times you're going to have conversations that are really meaningful. All right, with that child. Those are the meaningful times. So I choose to do that. So once you understand your natural rhythms and who you are and what you're here to do, when you're in your calendar and when you're making changes to it and you make exceptions to your natural rhythms, you're really working in from your value place and what's important to you. And you're conscious about it. So many times we're not conscious about our choices in our calendars. And that's where overwhelm comes from. When you are conscious about your choices in time, then you're not an overwhelm. Because overwhelm comes from being out of control. And versus out of control, I like to say being in charge. Because once you do this, you're in charge. And then taking action is how do you keep on track. It's really important to keep, once you know all of these pieces, then it's easy to stay on track and keep your boundaries. But a calendar doesn't do you any good. Natural rhythms don't do you any good. Or understanding your soul and your higher vision doesn't do you any good if you don't manage it. We have to develop the habits to manage our walk through time. And it comes through being really clear on what your focus is which comes from understanding your higher vision of success. So I have about 5 minutes left. And as we come here, it's really all about taking your soul walk through time and creating whatever it is you want. When you have a defined path that works for you, you know, you might, if you picture walking down the forest, and you're in the forest walking down this path, and all of a sudden it gets a little fuzzy, or it's like, oh, I went off on the grass here because I was thinking of something else. You can catch yourself and bring yourself right back onto your path and be able to enjoy and see all the pieces of your life and where you're going. And be pulled and inspired forward in your life, because your time and your path on this planet in your time is going to cross the paths of many others. Be present to you. Be present to your soul. And be present to your time. And I'll be over at my table later. If anybody wants to talk with me about your soul path and going through time, just please come over and visit with me. I would love to. This talk, I'm going to be releasing a paper in the next month and a half on this talk. There's green sheets if you'd like a copy of the paper. I'll be happy to send it to you on that. And now I'd like to open up. We've got 4 minutes. I'd like to open up for some questions.
Do you have a recommendation on like how to look at your rhythms and like a strategy or a technique or?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Through your rhythms come through when you were born. They come through how you move through every day, every year, and in the seasons. In my Guilt-Free Time Structures course, I really take you deeply into looking at your rhythms, starting with your annual and actually what year you are in numerologically, because we all have a cycle in our rhythms that goes from 1 to 9 in the 9-year cycle, from creation to completion. And our birth date and the current year will tell us exactly what cycle we're in. So there's a whole in-depth process that I take you through, but for you all to get an understanding of your natural rhythms, look at what feels good when you move through the day. When is your highest energy? When do you like to talk to people? When do you not like to talk to people? When's your best quiet time? When's your best focused creative time where you write? Or if you're in the financial industry, when you're playing with the numbers, what is that best time for you? In different industries, we have different times that are good for us. So that's a really good place to start on understanding your natural rhythms. And it takes time. I mean, we spend 3 hours or more on natural rhythms in my course. So.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm always thinking about money all the time, especially right now, since I'm now sacked with the responsibility of paying for school on my own, and my SSI doesn't cover tuition.
Right.
It only covers rent, utilities, and other necessities. And I'm also got debt to think about, like student loan debt I gotta pay back. I'm doing taking necessary steps like starting a t-shirt business to pay off. Always thinking about money all the time. Never always happy. How do I get out of that quagmire?
Okay, the key to getting out of that quagmire, Scoop, is to really, really deeply come into you. Because our access to money and finances comes through who we are and accepting, being able to receive and trusting that the actions that we take on our time that are in alignment with us and who we are will open up our financial path. So the more connected to who you are at your soul level and following your inner guidance and staying out of your head, the more you focus on your money the more you're going to have issues with the money. But focus on knowing what you do, because what we think about, we create. 1930s, they did an experiment on thought theory and actually proved what we learn here in Science of Mind about our thoughts and our mind. So it's really important to pay attention to what your thoughts. And focus on what you're going to give and how you're going to be in the planet. Then those types of things open up. I've had that experience a number of times, and our time is up. So I'll be happy to talk to anybody over at the table, because the mic just went back, and come and see me.
Great.